Hi there, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be sharing 3 tips to improve your productivity. Productivity is a hot topic. Everyone's trying to figure out how can they do more, get more done, fast, 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 all these different things, right? So say, hey, let's share a few tips that will improve your productivity. You might be surprised by some of the tips. Tip number 1 is time blocking. This tip was mentioned in a book that I'm currently reading called The One Thing by Gary Keller. This book has a ton of insights when it comes to business strategy and making an impact. It's a really, really insightful book, and I'll be sure to come back and do a book review when I'm actually finished with it. So, tip number 1, time blocking. Time blocking is simply blocking your time. I know it's like it sounds really simple, but it's simply blocking your time. So, looking at your calendar and having designated hours to complete a task. And so, what this might look like is if you have a super big task that you're working on, look at your calendar and say, okay, I'm going to designate this chunk of 4 hours to knock this out or to work on this. And the thing with blocking your time that makes it effective is that you actually have to stick to it. You have to protect the time that you've blocked. So that means no distractions. That means no notifications that are going to distract you or different people that might pop by your office, pop by your desk. It's protecting your time, your sacred time to get this task done, whatever means that may look like. So that might mean having a do not disturb sign on your door. If you're in a shared working space or a space with cubicles, maybe reserving a work room or a conference room, take your laptop in there and just get your work done. If you're working from home, eliminate all distractions, like put your phone on D&D, turn off all the notifications that could be coming through any of your devices, all the rings and dings and chimes and everything that come through all your devices. Eliminate distractions to the point where you're only getting up from your task if you need to take a restroom break. That's really the only reason. So that means have your water nearby, have your snacks nearby, and really commit to sticking with your task for that block of time. The second tip is batching. So batching is you group similar tasks or the same task, especially a repetitive task. You group repetitive tasks all together and just do them back to back to back. So perfect example, I do batching myself. When I'm recording videos, I'm doubling both. So I block a certain amount of time that I know that this is going to be my video recording time, and I record back to back to back to back videos in that time. The reason that this is so effective is it takes a lot of mental energy to switch your brain from task to task to task to task. Even if you don't notice it initially, it does take a lot of mental energy to switch your brain, like you're switching tabs on a computer, to like switch your brain from one task to the other, to then like switch your brain back to the previous task. It takes a lot. And so if you batch and just do the same task over and over and over and over again, you're able to get a lot more done. And it requires less of a mental lift from you. I'll think of it like an assembly line where there's one person or one machine that does the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? As opposed to one person doing all of the steps in the process and then starting over to do all of the steps in the process. No, it's like you just do your one thing over and over and over, and that's it. So that's batching. Also, if you're finding these tips helpful so far, I invite you to take a moment and like this video and subscribe to this channel. This is a small channel, but we're growing. We're growing. So I invite you to subscribe. Now, on to your next tip. Your next tip and your final tip is to pair your task with your energy level. This takes a little bit of self awareness a little bit of slowing down for a moment to really assess and think about, okay, at what point in the day is my energy at its high point? At what point in the day does my energy sort of dwindle, right? And so you want to do tasks that are going to require a lot of energy, especially mental energy. You want to do those tasks at points in your day where your energy reserve is high, where you have a lot of energy to devote to it. And then those tasks that don't require a whole lot of mental effort, a lot of brain effort, you can pair those at times where your energy is a little bit lower, right? So, for example, many people have discovered that they have a lot of energy in the mornings, like before lunchtime. And so, in that situation, if you have tasks that require a huge lift, like you have to complete a project or prepare for a presentation or, whatever those tasks may be, like work on a huge chunk of something, some project, you might want to do that in the morning, do that in the morning because you're gonna be more alert, you're gonna have more energy, and it's gonna drain you. Like, especially if you know the task is going to drain you, it's best to do it when you already are on a full tank, right? And then say, for example, a task that you know requires a little less energy. It might be checking your emails. It might be maybe returning a couple of phone calls or maybe dropping something off by the mailroom. Maybe do those tasks in the afternoon. If your energy tends to dwindle in the afternoon, that might be a great time to do those types of tasks. And so again, this one requires you to have some level of self-awareness to know yourself, to know when your energy is highest, when it kinda dwindles off, and then you can pair the task to the corresponding time of day. Now, expert level or a bonus is you can layer these tips on top of one another. So, what that might mean is if I know that my energy is higher in the morning versus in the evening, so I'm going to time block a chunk of time in the morning because that's when my energy is the highest. And then I'm going to batch the heavy lift task in the morning. See how I did that? Like you layer these different tips on top of one another to get even more impact with them. So if you found these tips helpful, please feel free to share this video with a friend that you think may also find it helpful. Also, leave a comment and let me know if you'd like to learn more about these tips. I always want to make sure that I'm being helpful and I would love to share more strategy. So let me know what else you want to learn about or hear about. Once again, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.